It is not terrible to have an affair, but if your love affair is these two women, then you have to be careful. They are not some kind and innocent white rabbit. If you don't believe me, just look what happened to Jack. Jack is an architect. He is a middle-aged man with two lovely children. His wife is a very beautiful and capable artist. Because today happens to be the weekend, his wife was going to take the kids to the beach for 2 days, but Jack had to stay home and work late because he still had work to do. He was having a party with his pet dog. It was pouring rain outside the house, but Jack was listening to music and drinking wine without being affected at all at that moment. There was a knock on the door. Who else would come to the door in this weather? Jack opened the door curiously. There was a pair of beautiful sisters standing outside. They were supposed to be going to some party, but they got lost in the wrong car, and since no one in the neighborhood was home on the weekend, they could only come to Jack for help. The sisters were drenched in water and shivering from the cold. Jack had to let them into the house first. They were very conscious of the fact that they were worried about getting the floor dirty. At the door, they took off their shoes. Jack then went to get towels and tablets for them because their phones were broken and they couldn't remember their friends' phone numbers. They had to use the tablet to log into their social media accounts for help. After finding out the correct destination from their friends, Jack decided to be a good guy and help them call a taxi. But because it was raining so hard, it took 45 minutes for the taxi to arrive. The sisters seemed to have realized that Jack is a good man and asked for help. They wanted to borrow Jack's clothes dryer. Jack thought it was not a big deal, so he gave the sisters a bathrobe each and threw their wet clothes into the dryer. But when he walked back to the living room, he found that the sisters were really not polite at all. They treated this place like their own home. They were dancing, listening to music and playing with Jack's beloved DJ booth. When they saw Jack coming, they inquired curiously about Jack's job and age. Their eyes were full of admiration and adoration and even warmly sent hugs. Jack some cannot stand beautiful women. The initiative to quickly sit aside, but the sisters obviously do not intend to let Jack go easily. They kept making explicit remarks. Hands are always on Jack's body. Jack quickly looked at the time. Internet dating and 20 minutes is simply too hard to live. He began to take the initiative to ask the two sisters to divert attention from their work. It was hard to get through the last 5 minutes. Anna said she had to go to the bathroom. Mary, who stayed behind, danced in front of Jack. Jack's bottom line is eroded little by little. Fortunately, the call from the internet taxi pulled her sanity back in time, and by the time he brought the drying clothes to the bathroom door inside, the sisters but how not to respond. The girls' clear laughter rang out in the bathroom. No matter how Jack shouted, no one came to open the door, so Jack opened the door and covered his eyes and went, and the result was unsuspecting and never came out. The taxi did not receive people, of course, also drove away early. The next morning, Jack woke up from a beautiful dream. He didn't see the sisters and thought they had left a long time ago, but when he walked into the kitchen, he found the two of them had made a mess of the kitchen. Jack was a bit baffled looking at the sisters, and last night completely different style. He could only slightly nervous to say that he could drive the two home. Unfortunately, it was easier to invite God than to send him away. These two are not going to leave and are ready to stay here. At that moment, Jack's wife called on the video phone. Jack had to go to the yard to answer it, but the two sisters came out after them and made all sorts of explicit gestures. Jack did not say 2 words and hung up the phone in a hurry. He then angrily went into the house and prepared to kick the sisters out. The two sisters said they were going to get dressed but actually played hide and seek. They even scribbled on Jack's wife's artwork. This time Jack could not stand it anymore. He decided to call the police to get rid of them. But the sisters were not only unafraid, they also happily said that it is not certain who will be unlucky. Thinking about what happened last night, Jack knew he was being trapped. He wanted to use money to solve the problem, but the two sisters did not want money. They were ready to tell the public what Jack had done. Jack was overwhelmed with anger. He wanted to strangle Anna, but then he came to his senses. Jack let go of his hand and decided to call the police, but this time the two sisters chose to compromise. First, they packed their things and let Jack take them away. When they got home and looked at the mess of the house, Jack had to spend most of the day cleaning up. He didn't get back to work until the evening. He didn't expect the trouble to end at all. During the night there were noises outside. Jack had to go outside to check. He saw a family photo thrown on the floor. Jack rushed to pick it up unexpectedly. He was attacked from behind. When Jack woke up from the coma, he was tied to the bed. The straps on his limbs were very strong. Jack could not break free. Anna sat in front of the dressing table and put on her makeup. As for Marco, she put on Jack's daughter's clothes and deliberately used the daughter's tone of voice and talked to Jack, but soon the ambiguous tone turned to anger. Mary slapped Jack severely several times. Words revealed her own past by her stepfather hurt. Maybe that's why the two sisters did all this. Girl's intimate clothing fell on Jack's face and even his foot stepped on it. Jack fought back his anger and asked the two youngsters to help him untie it. Was a coincidence that the phone rang. It was a video call from his wife. If his wife saw the scene, it would be worse than an asylum. Jack had to give in. He said he would do anything, as long as the two sisters didn't get on the phone. So Anna videotaped Jack and Mary working out. Worried that they were working too hard, Anna went out of the room to prepare food. Jack took this opportunity to finally break free, punched Mary in the face, and quickly ran out to Anna to settle the score. Unfortunately, Anna's fork in her hand fork down. Jack instantly lost the ability to resist. He was tied up again. The sisters put headphones on him. They played a high volume of noise. Jack felt like he was going deaf when someone came from outside the house. Tom came to take Jack's wife's freshly made artwork to be exhibited. The sisters pretended they were Jack's nieces to get away with it, but they forgot that they had already scribbled on the artwork. Tom was furious. He immediately pulls out his cell phone and prepares to call the police. Of course, the sisters couldn't let him do that. Anna hooked her finger trying to do the same thing again. However, Tom was smart enough to immediately reveal the true nature of the two and found the hidden Jack. He was about to untie Jack. There was a knocking sound outside the house. Tom didn't even think about it and ran out to stop the two men from destroying the artwork, but none of them listened to him. Tom is so angry that he has an asthma attack, and the medicine in his pocket has been stolen by Anna. The two sisters played with Tom like a monkey. As a result, Tom fell down in the confusion. He hit his head hard on a rock and died instantly. Seeing the scene, Jack asked the sisters to help Tom call an ambulance, but the two girls in front of him did not care. They even laughed uncontrollably. They wrapped Tom's body in newspaper and painted it. They also made it into the shape of a work of art and sent it to the car. They also used Jack and Tom's cell phone to text each other to create the illusion of conflict between the two. As for Jack, they were going to dig a big hole in the yard and bury him alive. Jack saw that both of them went to the yard and tried to use the tablet to find his wife for help. Unfortunately, they were discovered. The two sisters went around the house, scribbling and vandalizing. Surprisingly, they also accidentally found a gun. It was almost dawn. Anna came up with a new game. The two of them helped Jack untie, then they gave him 30 seconds to hide. As long as they can hide until dawn, the two sisters will leave on their own. Unfortunately, the time was too short for Jack to hide. He was recaptured on the run. It was finally dawn. Jack was taken to the big hole they had dug. The sisters didn't bury the man alive. Instead, they left one head outside and used Jack's social account to post a video of him and Mary working out. Earlier, Jack was forced to watch the comments of his friends. The sisters finally had enough of their fun. They left with their asses intact. Jack in the yard reached out from the dirt with all his might to delete the video, but then his hand slipped and liked his own video. I don't know how long it took. Jack's wife came back from vacation with their two children. Seeing the mess, the son exclaimed, "Dad was really having a party." End of the film. This story tells us, do not think that soft girls are not dangerous. Well, that's it for today.